let's talk about AI. When I say that, what comes to mind for you? What do you think about?
I think about the feeble minds of humanity and how easily replaceable we are. And that there is the possibility for a dystopian future in which AI controls most of reality. Ilya, one of the co-founders of OpenAI, said that AGI has the ability to control stable dictatorships in perpetuity. What this means is that we can create mental models and we can create systems and operations and procedures that allow dictatorship to run in perpetuity. It's not very difficult. It's happening in China. China owns 50% plus of all the surveillance cameras in the world. They have central bank digital currencies attached to WeChat, WePay. They have their social credit score attached to jaywalking. So if you jaywalk, your WeChat gets a deducted
That's crazy.
money. And if your credit score goes down a certain level, you can't buy food, you can't travel, you can't leave the country. And in fact, now, shout out to Elon, if you're under a certain credit score, you can't charge your Tesla. So if you think that that just stops in the United States, or stops in China, and is not coming to the United States and to the rest of the world, well, you're sadly mistaken.
So do you think
And it's
Elon's going to create that super app?
Well, I think he's competing for it, because if he's not going to do it, he's going to get fucked by somebody else. So how do you play the game? I mean, you own Neuralink, which is the implant into people's heads. You own, well, he used to own part of OpenAI, but now he's in the entire X.AI game. He owns the social media company that feeds the AI with infinite information. He owns the car, so he can feed the AI infinite information of people's movements. He controls the satellites that have the internet, that connect the Neuralink to the AI, to the car, which is a surveillance vehicle. And he controls the solar panels that are going to be connected to the houses. And little do people know, Tesla, their power charging grids have now become the standard power charging grids in the entire country. So you have one individual who controls the power grid, who controls the vehicle, who controls the AI, who controls the implant, who controls the social media platform, and who controls the satellites and the internet that's going into space. It's the perfect setup for Lex Luthor. Let's just put it that way.
So do we need to stop Elon Musk?
I think we need to figure out how to become AI proof, building businesses that are resilient to AI, figuring out what are the things that are going to be difficult for AI to replace, and working towards skill sets of the future and not skill sets of the present. People are out here starting OnlyFans management companies as if that was their golden ticket to success, because they're thinking about the coin in the bag that they're going to make next month. Little do they know the fucking tsunami that's coming their way in a couple of years. They have no idea whatsoever. So your ability to anticipate trends is your ability to ride trends, and you ride trends and you get rich. So it's not merely a concept of luck, it's a concept of probability. I got smacked in 2017 with crypto. I knew crypto was going to come back. It already come back from the next Bitcoin halving. It pumped. I knew social media was going to play a big part of it. I didn't know how it was going to play a big part of it. I just was familiar with the CZ and Binance ecosystem, so I bet on him. He was the fucking best winning horse in the entire game. Maybe I got lucky. Who knows? I don't think so. I was in the right place at the right time. I was buying BNB in 2017 for $2 when the exchange had just opened. I was on that shit. So if you increase your probabilities, you develop your skills to become AI proof, or develop skills that are difficult for AI to replace, like personal connection and authenticity and truth and creativity and critical thinking and love and empathy and humanity, and you develop that shit and stop being an NPC, then I don't think you need to really worry about AI. And I think that there's always a place in the world where, even though there's shit happening like totalitarian control, like in China, there's other places in the world that aren't gonna be so crazy.
If money wasn't a big focus for you and you weren't chasing money, why would you buy all of the BNB and the Bitcoin at so low prices? Because
I'm a degenerate,
really fun,
bro. Because I'm a fucking degen, bro. I'm a degenerate. That's how I play the games. If I'm gonna play my card, first, I'm not gonna play a ton of hands. I'm only gonna play my hands when I know my hands are strong. People are out here trading and investing every fucking day, assuming that that's productive. I don't want to be a machine gun that's just out here. Let me just throw shit on the wall. Let me invest 1,000 into 50 different shit coins. Hopefully one pops off and I make my return. No, I make sizable, calculated bets, and I make sure that those bets pay off. So for example, when Meta was sitting at about sub $100, I told literally on Twitter publicly, everybody, I'm putting 10% of my net worth into Meta because it's oversold. And this is an entire campaign for them to buy back their stock cheaper. And it was true. And that shit pumped over 100%. So it was one decision that was well-informed and was accurate. And I'll explain how I came down to that conclusion. Not a trade every single day, not out here on Etherscan looking at whale wallets and going crazy. That's not how I trade. Some people do it that way. That's totally fine. But what was my thesis with Meta? Well, I studied Facebook because I used to do e-commerce. Everything's correlated with what I do. If you open up your mind, you can start making more money with the information that you already have. I'm like, when does Meta make most of their money? When do they make most of their capital? During Q4, right? When people are actually running a ton of ads. When does Shopify make most of their money? Well, during Q4, when merchants are actually running a ton of business and clocking sales through Black Friday and Christmas. So when do I think they're going to have good reporting about their earnings? Most likely Q1. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to understand that other people are going to have the same mental framework as me, and they're going to arrive to that conclusion later than I will because I have prepared myself earlier and I'm more experienced in this specific stock and understanding the specific movement of the stock. And then I'm going to sell the news. So you ride the concept or you ride the potentiality of an ETF, and as soon as the ETF comes in, you sell, and then you can buy back in. And that was my concept with Meta. Small, calculated, limited decisions as opposed to all sorts of crazy shit is my way of moving.
Where do you see Meta going in the future? Because I'm not too keen on how all of their metaverse looks at the moment, and I obviously know that it will improve and get to a stage where maybe it's like Ready Player One or something like that. But where do you see it going?
Bet on winning horses, brother. If you don't think Mark Zuckerberg is out here to run this entire game, he is. So I just put my money with winning horses, and sometimes the winning horses do better than others. But my conclusion with like Meta or with Shopify was the businesses are winning horses. They're cash positive. They're going to be successful. The speculation on it is good. The risk reward ratio is good. And I think most people correlate action with productivity, and that's just not really the case. That's kind of like a peasant mindset. You know, the more you work, the more productive you are. I think making the right decisions and acting upon the right decisions equate to productivity. So I'm focused on that. That's how I invest. That's how I make decisions. It's more relaxing to live that way.
How do you feel about the people that say, invest your money in the S&P 500 and you get rich when you're 65 with compound interest over all of those years?
The problem is when you get to 65 and you look back and what you have to show for your entire life, you don't have much. So the dream is cool. When you arrive to the destination, it's not what it was painted to be. It's not that great. So why would you take somebody else's mental framework as the best framework for reality? You're just taking it because you don't want to do your own due diligence and build your own mental frameworks in your own investing strategies. That's why ETFs exist. That's why the S&P 500 is. And these are great tools. These are tools, these are vehicles that people use to kind of make a ton of money, and so be it long term. I don't know. I think people need to be diversified. If you're fully in the stock market, you're fucked. If you're fully in cash, you're fucked. We live in a society right now where you have to be dynamic and you have to be very fluid.
Do you think there's a place for both investing long term and also dipping in and out, riding the waves like you're talking about?
Yeah, for sure. I think there is a massive play in investing long term, but knowing what you're investing into and knowing why you're buying what you're buying. If you're going to invest in something long term, you better have good conviction in it.